circumference and area of circles. The area and the circumference of a circle both rely on the circle's radius. Remember that often a circle's diameter is given instead, and so the radius is the diameter divided by 2 if you need to work that out. The area of a circle is given by area equals pi times r squared, where r of course is the radius. The circumference, which is the perimeter of the circle, the distance around the outside, is 2 times pi times the radius. Now, since 2 times the radius is the diameter, you can just use pi times the diameter for the circumference of a circle only. You cannot use the diameter in the radius, you must use, in the area, you must use the radius. So, finding the area and circumference of a circle, area equals pi r squared. Write the formula, substitute in your values. This circle has a radius of 3.8 centimeters. So, pi times the radius squared. So I've got 48.4 centimeters squared. For the circumference, circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. And that's 23.9. Now that's just in centimeters because it's distance around the outside. Some other types of circle questions you might get are an annulus, which is just a ring, which is basically made by a larger circle with a smaller circle cut out of the center. So you can represent the small radius as little r and the big radius as capital R. And then, of course, the area of an annulus is pi r squared for the big circle, take away pi r squared for the little circle. You could do large circle, find the area, small circle, find the area, and then take them away. So this would be pi times 4 squared minus pi times 3 squared. But that's quite a nice, classy way of doing it with minimal working. So 4 squared is 16, take away pi times 3 squared is 9. Now, if you're using these calculators and it gives you in terms of pi, the little arrow key will get you a decimal answer. And we're in meters squared. Shapes involving circles, especially where there's semicircles or quarter circles, things like that. Obviously, perimeter and area you'll tackle differently. So for perimeter of this shape, it will be 3 lots of 4, the side of the square, and in fact you can write 3 times s for the side, plus, now the perimeter or the circumference of this little bit here is half the circumference of the whole circle. You can work out the radius. It's half that length there, so the radius will be 2. So that will be the circumference of 2 pi r divided by 2 to get half of it. So you do have to work out what the sides are. I can say 3 times s here because the sides are all the same. If they were different, I'd have to adapt that. So this is 3 times the side length of 4 plus. Now, if you want, you can do 2 times pi times the radius divided by 2, but I can see that those cancel out. So that's pi times the radius of 2. So I've got 12 plus pi times 2. My perimeter is 18.28. Remembering that perimeter is just all this distance around the outside of the shape here. area of the shape, it's the area of half a circle plus the area of a square in this shape. So I could say side squared for the square plus pi r squared for the circle, but I only want half of that. These twos don't cancel out. That's the power of 2, not times 2. So you find the part of the circle you've got, you find the other shapes, add or subtract as you need to. That's 4 squared plus pi times, remember the radius is 2. And so I've got 16 plus pi times 2. I always lose the squared button on this. Squared. And now we are dividing that by 2, so things do cancel out a little bit there. And that's 22.28. We're in centimetres squared, and I forgot my centimetres over there. So really, it's just use your circle formulae correctly. Area compared to circumference. Be aware of whether you've got the radius or the diameter. Always use the radius for area. And formula working answer for the simple shapes. Then for compound shapes, work out what your different shapes are and whether you need to add or subtract.